Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for waiting so patiently. I appreciate you doing that. I do have to give this content disclaimer. There is a child victim involved in this case. This would be the case, the Granville Ritchie case involving the homicide of 9-year-old Felicia Williams. This is a crime that occurred in Tampa, Florida. It occurred in the year of 2014, and this is a death penalty case. Okay. Because of the nature of the case, I'm going to give the disclaimer that there may be some mention of sexual assault, and that would be sexual assault involving a child as well as homicide. So this is for 18 years and older. Okay. And I'm going to start off with, because I made notes, I've already watched this testimony in advance. I'm going to give you guys a call-in number, and it's just going to be a Google Voice number. You can call in. If there's anybody that calls in and attempts to troll or deviate, the call will be disconnected immediately. Nobody's going to entertain you. Okay. You'll have to come back on another day. Okay. And I'll drop the call number in the chat, as well as type it in the basically the banner. Okay. For anybody that wants to call in, or if you like to hit the link after we watched, I'm going to say about 1 hour and 11 minutes of the testimony. Before I get into the things that I got out of the testimony, I have basically 2 pages of notes that I wrote as a result of the testimony of Ebony Wiley. And Ebony Wiley would be who Granville Ritchie had met on, I believe, the 14th of May of 2014. And ultimately, there are different things that you'll find out in the testimony that may not be apparent immediately if you're just skimming through the news article. Okay, there's certain things that come out as a result of her testimony. So I would like for you all to have an opportunity to witness her testimony. Okay, because I'm quite sure we're looking at it from different perspectives, so we'll all have different takeaways from it. And just like I'm sure that there'll be things that we'll agree on, or things that we'll take note of throughout her testimony. Again, I'm going to say her testimony lasts about an hour. Before her grandfather and someone that she purchased marijuana from on the day of the murder of Felicia. Okay, so can you all see that? Do you need me to? You let me know which view, because I'm looking at it from the StreamYard's application. Let me know which view works better for you on your device. Does it look better when I do it this way? Or let me see if there's another way that I could put it. I could do it that way. Because everybody has different size devices, so it may come up differently depending on what type of device you're using. Some people may be on a computer. Some people may be on a laptop. Some people may be on a cell phone. Okay, thank you, just XR. Hey, Poetic Curls. Hey, Darren. Hey, 5'9" plus size beauty. Hey, Tracy. Diamond Forever. And special thanks to everybody that was waiting at 1 o'clock. I appreciate that. Going Fishing, Wax Hoarder, No One Cares, Better Days, Paul Graves. I thought I seen my Be More Bro in the chat earlier. Yep, just DeAndre, Mac, and Nunya. Thank you guys for waiting so patiently. Okay. My grandson has his gelato, so he may be occupied for a little while. Okay, Mac, Callie Jane 79, Zeus Flip, Ayana Thompson, Tracy 3, Evolve My, Diamond Forever, Soapbox Jones Zen, Blue Rain, Energy Matcher, Fashionista for Life, Beautiful Soul. Welcome everybody. Okay. So it seems like everybody's okay with this particular view. So I'll just go ahead on and get right on into it. I'm going to mute up my mic from my end, so that way you all can get hopefully get clear sound on the audio. And I will be watching the chat, so let me know if there's any audio difficulties. I actually have my earphones on, but sometimes you all may get wind that there's something wrong with the sound first. Okay. Hey, Nisa. Okay. Let's get started.
Two-month time period, right?
Yes.
And you did that because you felt like you could be a positive influence on her.
Yes.
That she could use some guidance.
Yes.
Because you were aware that she needed some guidance, in your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. As it relates to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
As it relates to behavior.
Yes, sir.
As it relates to not stealing.
Yes, sir.
No one else knew that you had decided that you were her godmother. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes. Her mother knew. Her sisters them knew. Yes.
They all knew.
Yes, they all knew.
During this same time period, from time to time, you would consume ecstasy. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Ecstasy is MDMA, right?
I believe so.
Molly and ecstasy is basically the same thing.
Probably so.
I'm sorry?
Probably so.
Okay. Do you know?
Okay, Darren, are you saying share the because I'm actually sharing through. Can you all hear it clearer? Because I am using the share. I am using the share screen. That is the share screen window, and I'm sharing the sound. No, that's not the share window. That's actually the the option where you're allowed to actually share the audio. And again, because it doesn't specify who this is on the stand, this is actually Ebony Wiley that's giving her testimony about the days preceding May the 16th of 2014 and up until basically up until I believe May the 19th of 2016. And that's going to be the context of her testimony. I'm not certain why it's low. I'm not certain if that's the device or if that's just let me see if there's something else I could do to twist the let me see, because the volume is up as high as it'll go. Let me try something a little different, because I'm actually sharing the screen with the volume. No, you're fine, Darren, because you're not the only person that said it. Princess X said the same thing, that the audio volume is on low. It's turned all the way up on YouTube. It's turned all the way up on my microphone. So I'm not certain if it's just she's speaking low. Can you hear the defense attorney clearly? Or is it just her voice? Ha 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 ha, no heat wave. It's a woman. So I'm not certain as to why that is. Let me see. And as far as the volume on the device, I mean, on the screen, it's not allowing me to adjust the volume up or down. But the it's I think she's just talking low. Okay, thank you, Tracy.
You don't know. Okay. But you know that from time to time you would do Molly, right?
Right.
You consume Molly, it's a drug, right?
Right.
And from time to time you would consume ecstasy.
No.
Okay. Well, you just said you don't know whether or not it's the same.
Right, but it's the different forms of looking at it.
So are you telling this jury that ecstasy and Molly is not the same?
If you look at the difference from of the view of it, you will say it's not the same, but you will say, hey, it feels the same. I feel like it feels the same.
So it gives you the same sensation, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you buy these drugs, it's not like going to the pharmacy and buying
No.
drugs, right?
No, sir.
It's not a controlled environment, right? Right? I'm getting.
Okay, you need to get there.
I'm getting there, Your Honor.
Okay, quickly.
You've indicated that taking Molly causes you to enjoy sex more.
Yeah. It
Yes?
could have. Yes, sir.
Okay. It's sort of, you feel more spiritual when you take Molly, right?
No, I don't feel more spiritual. If I'm hanging around friends, if we communicating on life and talking about what's good of God or what God have done for me, yes, I could talk spiritual.
Okay. And the Molly helps you with that.
No,
Okay.
because if I'm sober, I could talk the same.
Okay. And if you have a bad trip on Molly, in fact, you had a bad trip on Molly where you contacted law enforcement and we discussed.
This is what we've discussed
Yes.
previously. I'll overrule the objection.
You, in fact, after having a bad trip on Molly, contacted law enforcement and told them that you felt like Satan was manipulating your mind.
So 2012, that's what you referring
And when was it?
2012.
2012. That's right. 2 years
I
earlier.
did not take Molly 2012. It was the ecstasy pill.
Okay, so you did take ecstasy.
2012, but around the time that I was staying in the rooming house, I was taking Molly.
But I want to make sure I understand, because
Okay.
I think a few minutes ago you said that you weren't sure whether or not Molly and ecstasy
What's
are both.
in it?
Let me
Right.
finish, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That you weren't sure whether or not Molly and ecstasy, in fact, were MDMA and the same type of controlled substance.
Okay, so I misunderstood that. I'm trying to give you a best description of the difference of it.
Are you telling us today that you know that ecstasy and Molly are not the same?
It's probably not the same because the forms of it, you will say it's not the same, but the feeling, yes.
The feeling is the same.
Feeling, yes. Of sexually, yes. Communicating, yes. Energetic, yes. But the 2012 that you're referring on, I felt that when I took that, I felt like I was too high. It wasn't the same thing that I took in 2014. Of the form of looking at it, no, it was not, sir.
It was a bad trip.
It off of ecstasy. I call it. It calls people call it monkeys. People call it different kind of ecstasies of that. But Molly, I believe, is a different substance of.
But you don't know.
I'm not sure of it because, but if you look at it, you'll say, hey, this don't look the same.
Right, but you just told this jury that a good trip on ecstasy or Molly basically does
Not
the
Molly.
same.
Not Molly. It doesn't make me feel. It didn't make me feel the same of 2012.
No. I'm talking about the good feeling.
Okay, the good feeling.
The good feeling is the same, right?
Sexually, yes. Energetic, yes.
Okay. And the bad feeling, when you experience it, you described as Satan trying to manipulate your mind.
Not manipulate my mind. I didn't even say exactly that. I said I feel like Satan trying to get into my mind. And that was
Satan's
2000.
trying to get into my mind. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said, sir.
Right.
It was a long time ago, and that was way before 2014. I felt like I was so high that I needed to be felt protected.
All right,
Yeah.
let's move along from the topic, move on.
On May 16th, 2014, you took half a Molly before you arrived at the apartment.
What he gave me, yes.
Yeah, you took half a Molly before you arrived at the apartment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was where? At Checkers, right?
No, I'm not sure when I consumed it, but I know I consumed it before, I believe, when I got in the house, before I got in the house.
Okay, did you
But
also,
by remembrance, yes. Before I got in the house, I believe I consumed it.
did you also take a Molly before you arrived at Checkers?
No, I don't think so. He showed me the Molly. I don't remember. But I know I took it from him.
If you had the opportunity to review your testimony from June 17th of this year, might that refresh your memory about whether or not you took a Molly before you got to Checkers?
I don't believe I took the Molly. I don't remember.
Okay, do you recall giving sworn truthful testimony in June of this year? I'm asking you questions, court reporter present, you recall that?
Yeah.
Were you telling the truth on that day?
Yes, I was telling the truth.
Okay.
So it's my memory, yes.
All right, being able to read your answer to my questions, might that refresh your memory?
Okay, yeah.
If I could approach Your Honor, page 81. Pretty much the whole page. You read that to yourself, the entire page? Let me know when you're done.
Okay, so up here, you talk about tape.
Does it refresh your memory?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you in fact take a Molly
Yes,
in
I
the
took,
car?
yes, I
before
took
you
a
got to
Molly.
Checkers?
I didn't take it as in I put it in my mouth. I took it from him.
During the, I think you said 2 months you lived at the rooming house?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Need to answer yes and no when
Yes, sir.
appropriate. Okay. Now, during that time period, you dated, you were in a relationship and dated a person by the name of Ray.
Okay,
I'm sorry?
yes.
What's relevance in
Wait,
this?
what?
Yep, why not? Sustain the objection.
Betty White, to answer your question, yes, she does have her attorney present. Her attorney is present in the courtroom.
When did you indicate that you worked the week of May 14th?
Say it again. I don't understand the question.
When did you indicate to the jury that you worked on May 14th? Did you work
7-3. My schedule is
7 to 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And did you work every day that week?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, if you're not sure,
Yes, sir.
just say so. Let's not guess,
Okay. Okay.
all right?
Okay.
Do you know that you worked every day that
I'm not
week?
sure.
Let's talk specifically about the 16th of May. Did you work on the 16th of May?
Yes.
What time did you get to work?
7 a.m.
And when you get to work at 7 a.m., how do you check in?
I clock in.
How do you clock in?
I think it's a number. You clock in with the number.
Okay, is there some sort of a scanner too there for your fingerprint or something like that?
I don't remember, but I know that we clock in.
Okay.
I think it's a number or a scan.
Okay, but so you would go up yourself
Yes.
and you would clock in, I've arrived.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you clock out when you leave, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you in fact clock in at 1:45 that on Friday the 16th instead of 7 a.m.?
No, I clocked in at 7.
You didn't
'Cause
clock in
that's
at
my-
1:44 p.m.?
No.
Did you in fact clock out at 8:44 p.m. on May 16th?
No, sir.
Yes.
On Saturday, May 17th, I think you indicated you were scheduled to work that day.
Yes.
You showed up for, I believe, 15 minutes.
Yes.
Did you check in?
I believe so. I did. Yes.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure, but I know I came to work and they was telling me that they had an Amber alert out for the little girl who was coming up to the job, and I said, I know. I started busting out in tears, and it was like, no, you don't need to work today.
Okay. Let's talk about that. A few days prior to May 14th, Jeremiah and Felicia were walking down the street. You recall that?
May 14th?
Yes. A few days prior,
Okay.
when you approached them, drove by the two of them, yelling and cussing at them. You recall that?
I don't cuss at them.
Never cussed at them.
No, I don't cuss at them.
So if Jeremiah told Officer Kelly that you did that, that's a lie.
Objection, Judge. What's the legal basis for the objection? Hearsay?
To impeach her.
It's improper impeachment. Sustain the objection. You can't ask a witness to comment on another witness's veracity.
Okay. But it's your testimony that you never told Jeremiah and Felicia, you never stopped by yelling and cussing at them, right?
No, I never did that.
Okay, a few days prior to May 14th of 2014, right?
I never did that. I never
Okay.
cussed at them.
All right. And you did not, I assume then, when confronted by Jeremiah the next day, tell Jeremiah that you just wanted them to go home. And that's the reason why you yelled at them and cussed at them.
I didn't cuss at them.
Right, so I assume you didn't tell her
No, I didn't.
that the reason was you just wanting them to go home, right? Correct?
I don't understand that, sir. I didn't cuss at them. I
Okay.
didn't yell at them.
All right.
Now, what part did we leave off at? No, the video was paused. Queen of the South. I had paused the video. Could you guys hear me? Because what I was saying was that this crime basically took place on the 16th of May of 2014. And she actually went to work on May the 16th of 2014. Oh, you never heard me? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, what I was saying was that, okay, she was saying that she never cussed them. What I was saying was that if you heard the name, if you hear the name Cha-Cha, if you hear the name Miss Brenda, if you hear the name Jacia, those are basically Felicia's sisters. Okay? So I just wanted to make you aware of if you hear those names, the names that they're referring to, those are Felicia's little sisters. Oh, I'm sorry, not her little sisters. One is her little sister. The one they call Miss Brenda is Felicia's sister, the murder victim's sister. There's another sister by the name of Cha-Cha that's also her sister. Okay? So what I was saying was that this crime occurred on the 14th of May of 2014. Now, the testimony that she's about to go into, she gets up and goes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's business as usual. She doesn't arrive at work late. It's actually the co-workers that is actually her co-workers and her supervisor that remembers Felicia, the murder victim, coming to her job on 2 previous occasions. Get this, between school hours. And it's actually her co-workers that bring it up and say, she doesn't come into work distraught. She doesn't come into work, distraught, having a meltdown, saying, we can't find Felicia. I haven't been asleep all night. No, it's her co-workers that say, hey, the little girl, your goddaughter that used to come to the job looking for you, there's an Amber Alert for her. So basically, once her co-workers bring it to her attention, then she puts on this, this Academy Award winning act where she's pretending to be distressed. And they're saying, listen, this is your godchild. You shouldn't be here. Don't worry about work. Go be with the family and support the law enforcement while they're looking for this little girl. So that's the testimony that she's about to go into. Okay. But I did want to make y'all aware when you hear those names, because you'll hear them refer to Cha-Cha, Miss Brenda, and let me get the my notes so I can pronounce the name of the other child. I don't know if it's just Cynthia. The name with the J, when I hear it the next time you hear it, they're going to mention it again in another few minutes. That's actually, all of those are Felicia's sisters. Okay? But that was just something that jumped out to me, that this child that you had taken with you on this dick date, because that's what it was to me. Okay? It was totally inappropriate. And the other thing that you'll find out as a result of her testimony is that it was her decision. See, because I believe a part of what she's lying about and what she's still lying about, she claims that they were going to have this conversation with Felicia about stealing from her relatives. But then on the stand, which she actually admits to them, basically them both deciding that they were going to take Felicia to McDonald's to talk to her about coming to Ebony's job during school hours. And what stuck out in my mind is, why the fuck would you talk to a 9-year-old child about anything that had to do with the child coming to your job, whether it was school hours or otherwise? Why would that not be a conversation you would have with her goddamn mother? Why would you think it was appropriate to go to her house and pick her up from her friggin' home and take her to a location with a total damn stranger and have a conversation with her about coming to your damn job? Why didn't you have that conversation with her mother? Didn't she have older sisters? Why didn't you talk to them and say, listen, where's your mom? I can't find, I need you to have your mom contact me as soon as possible. Okay. Now, I'm not certain if the buffering was because of me sharing the screen, but if it continues, I'll just play the audio, okay, and we can just listen to the audio. Now I like to play the actual video because I like to be able to look at the witness while they're actually testifying. But it just made me livid that this broad could just get up and just go to work as if a 9-year-old baby wasn't missing. Okay, so I'm going to be paying attention to the chat. I'm going to mute my mic up. You guys let me know if you hear any buffering, or if you experience any buffering or any audio difficulty. Thank you.
Did Felicia, in fact, go to your workplace on 2 occasions? And in fact, your employer was at, and
Objection, Judge, hearsay. Sustained as to hearsay.
okay, you then approached Felicia because you were upset that it was potentially costing you problems at work, right?
Yeah, I let her know she can't come up there, and she knows it's school hours. How fair does that look to me and then her parents?
Well, school hours or not, it was, you weren't happy about her coming to your work, right?
I wasn't happy because it was that situation of what she was doing. It don't matter about my workplace.
But you were upset that it was causing you problems at work.
Not too much problem at work.
Okay, well, let's talk about May 16th. When you went to pick up Felicia on May 16th, did you see Cha-Cha?
May 16.
And Cha-Cha is Charlize here, right?
Yes, I didn't see her.
Okay. Did you see Jeremiah?
Which is who? The fat girl?
Yeah,
Or the one who's next?
the other sister, Jeremiah.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but we need to take a quick break, okay? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, step into the jury room. Ms. Wiley, just remain where you are.
All rise, jury exiting. Leave your notes on your find out who, is this related to us? Is it related to this courtroom? Yes.
Okay, they need to come in and talk to them. Everyone have a seat.
Judge, what's all those people talking
Ms. Wiley, you can step down if you would like. Just remember, you can't talk to anyone about this case.
Where you want me to sit?
Pardon me?
Sit out here?
You can go to the witness room.
Okay.
There's a witness room, so why don't you wait in there?
Y'all, the mother of Ebony Wiley gets confronted by Felicia,
And the other thing I don't want
who
you doing
is Felicia's mother,
underwear.
at the vending stand.
Bailiff, no, people cannot walk in here with their underwear hanging out. That's a court law. Okay, so, let's see here. Okay. Let me get everyone's name for the record. I understand there's some disturbance out front. Is that correct? Okay, and what is your name, sir? Okay, and what is your relation to this case? Okay, very good. And Felicia's mother is here, correct? Okay, and who else do we have here? Who's in the back there? Oh, I'm sorry? And what's your relation to this case? My sister is dead now. Okay, you're Ebony Wiley's your sister. Okay, and then who else was involved in the altercation or whatever it was? Pardon me? Okay, bring her in. Yeah, don't come in here with your underwear hanging out. Nobody wants to look at it.
No food
No,
or drink
buddy.
here, no telephones out, nothing.
Okay, ma'am, what is your name? Sabrina Teal. And you're Ebony Wiley's mother? Yes, ma'am. Okay, it's my understanding there was some confrontation or something, words were said outside of the courtroom?
No, ma'am. I was at the and she pushed me in my bag.
Who's
and I
the
turned
she?
around- She pushed my bag and I turned around and asked her why she hit me.
Okay. So here's the deal. I don't know what's going on outside, but it's becoming a distraction to this proceeding, and I can't have it. And I understand, believe me, I understand that emotions are running high, and I understand everyone's under a lot of stress and anxiety. However, you all have got to control that, because if you can't control it, then I'm going to have to excuse you from the courtroom. And I'm going to have to make it so that you're not becoming a distraction. Because what's happening is I can hear stuff going on out there, which means going on out there, and that it takes away from the evidence that the jury needs to hear. I'm going to ask only one time, nicely, please act like adults, control your emotions, and if you cannot, to be at the courthouse. All right? This is the last time I'm going to ask nicely. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and just take a quick 5-minute break. Let everyone calm down, and then we'll get going. Thank you.
I think what I may have to do is actually, no, I think that's like the second time that happened. So I'm not certain if it's an issue with StreamYards. But we may just have to do the audio because of the fact that that is, it may be registering with YouTube as copyrighted content. I'm not certain why that's happening. I think in the future, what I'm going to do is screen record the part that I want to emphasize, and then basically like share the video file, upload the video file, and then share it that way. It's a lot more complicated that way and a lot more aggravating, but I think that that may be the issue. Okay, but we can certainly listen to the audio, and that may even allow you all that don't have the earphone, the headphones to actually hear. Okay, but I'm going to be honest with you. The way that I look at, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of a legal expert. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I'm not a juror. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a defense attorney. Right. So I'm not under the obligation of the law in that way. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have some goddamn issues, as I said the other day, with a 9-year-old child. Clearly, this woman was able to go to, basically to pick up this child, 9 years old, without any damn resistance. None of the siblings found it problematic. So clearly it was something that they were accustomed to. For this grown ass woman that lived in a damn boarding house to come pick up a 9-year-old child and just take her, just for her just to hang out. The other problem is, why in the hell doesn't the mother know that the 9-year-old is not the fucking school? And again, why is she not having the conversation with her mother that your daughter is not going to school and that she's coming up to my job at hours when she should be in school? But nonetheless, we understand how the tragedy. But it's just my opinion that Ebony Wiley was not the only person that failed the child in this instance. Where was her mother? Where was her father? Where were all of these people that are in the damn courthouse with their asses hanging out, ready to fight? And to fight Ebony's mother that doesn't have a damn thing to do with what her daughter did. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be angry. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be overwrought with emotion. I'm just saying, where was all this damn care and concern for this damn 9-year-old child that's being allowed to wander off with grown ass damn women at 9 years old? And there's quite a few things that came out in the testimony regarding the whether or not the child was really being watched, or whether she was raising her damn self. And the other thing that she said was, this was the only time that she had ever called Felicia, little Felicia's mother, and said, I have Felicia with me. Why? Because this was the furthest distance that she's ever taken the child away from her residence. But again, the other siblings were there because one of the other siblings wanted to go. If I'm not mistaken, it was the one that they call Miss Brenda, who was actually Felicia's younger sister, that wanted to go. The other thing that I found noteworthy is that she said that They were going to sit down, her and the strange man that she creepily saved as my husband in her cell phone after knowing the dude for 3 days, having sex with him once, and his name is saved in her cell phone as my husband. So her and her husband of 3 days were going to sit down with her goddaughter and have a conversation about the goddaughter coming to her job. And I'm like, what? It was like, I felt like I was in a freaking Twilight Zone somewhere. Like, on what planet does that make any friggin' sense? Kels, she had his name saved in there. As her husband. And somebody else asked something in the other interesting thing about this case is this dude was actually evaluated by a doctor by the name of Emily Lazaro, and she actually diagnosed him as a psychopath, as somebody having antisocial personality disorder. The other interesting thing is that his father, a part of because this is a death penalty case, so a part of the evidence that came out later on was that his father was actually a Don in his native country of Jamaica. So he was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. Okay? So that was quite interesting. So let me try to see. They're back in the court. And those of you, the Dons, sort of like in Jamaica, they call them like, do they call them the bad man? It's something to that effect. The Dons have a lot of political ties and power in Jamaica. So that was one of the things that they actually argued to try to mitigate his culpability, that he was abused by his father. But this dude is actually a diagnosed psychopath. They're back in court. I think I'm just going to go with the sound this time, guys, because I think that may be what's causing the interference, and I don't want to have to keep coming in and out. If you guys want me to keep trying it, I will, but I think that may be a part of the problem, because this is actually on the Tampa News website. Hello to everybody that came in the room. So this pretty much is still her. This is still her on the stand. It's still Ebony Wiley on the stand.
I believe we were talking about May 16th, when you came by to pick up Felicia Williams from her home. Recall that?
Yes.
Now, from her home, at some point, you had her call her to let her know that she was with you, right?
Yes, sir.
This is after you had picked her up, right?
Yes.
Okay. On previous occasions, when you would get Felicia from her home, when you would go somewhere with Felicia, would you contact the mother yourself?
Okay, y'all, that was give me 1 second. Yeah, that has something to do with the either StreamYard, whether it has something to do with StreamYards or the copyright from I'm just going to play the audio from my cell phone. Give me 1 second.
In fact, she said to you, "Can I come along as well?"
No, she didn't. Little Brenda did. The
Really?
little,
Little Brenda?
yes, her little sister wanted to come along. She didn't.
When you say little Brenda, is that someone who you also sometimes refer to as Miss Brenda?
Yeah.
Okay, but Miss Brenda is little, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was little Brenda who asked to come along.
Yeah.
Okay. So the older sister, Jeremiah, I believe is what, a year older or younger than Felicia? Do you recall?
Oh, 1
1 year older? Okay. Jeremiah didn't say, "I want to come along."
No.
Okay. And you didn't tell no, you can't come along because I need to talk to Felicia about the problems that she's causing me at work. Didn't say
I
that.
didn't say exact words like that.
Well, did you say something like that?
Brenda wanted to come along, and I was to her that girl. And
Ty!
Say
That what you doing?
I said that I need to talk to Sugar Mom.
About what?
Come to the workplace.
And the fact that you didn't want to come into the workplace, right?
Right, that was correct.
Okay.
That was
all right.
only right.
And that's why you wanted to talk to her alone,
I
right?
was going to talk to her at McDonald's. Yes. Yes.
Do you recall calling Cha-Cha and telling her about your concerns about Felicia coming to your workplace?
I don't remember.
Because you may have done that.
I may have.
You leave Felicia's house, you go to Checkers, right?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a testimony about it's supposed to be McDonald's, then it's Checkers. Bottom line, you end up going to a fast food place and you get some food, right?
Well, the deal was to go to McDonald's to sit down with her. I didn't look at Checkers when we went to Checkers. I didn't look at Checkers that you could sit down and talk to her.
Well, when you say the deal was to go to McDonald's and talk to her, you didn't tell Felicia that when you picked her up.
Right.
You didn't tell her sisters that when you picked her up.
That we go to McDonald's?
Right.
Yeah, no, I told her I didn't need to talk to her.
Okay. And so this is a decision that was made and then changed at some point between you and Mr. Ritchie.
No, he surprised me that he went the opposite way.
Okay.
We're supposed to went to McDonald's.
So because you were so concerned about the fact that you ended up going to Checkers and not McDonald's, you decided not to leave Felicia Williams' side after that, right?
Correct.
Well, that's not accurate because you left, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So let's talk about that. You had arrived at the...
Let me just say this. I thought that was noteworthy, because if he tells you we're going to take her to McDonald's and have the conversation, and when he picks you all up, you realize it was enough concern that you felt the need to keep her with you when you realized he wasn't going to the McDonald's as you all had agreed. So she's feigning that she had the presence of mind to keep Felicia with her, because she got a bit alarmed when she noted that he was not going in the direction of the McDonald's. So it's like all of these different red flags. And at this point, she hadn't even taken the Molly yet. She admits to taking Molly the day of the crime. But at this point, when he picks them up and they're not going in the direction of the McDonald's, she knows then something's off. But because her little dictate and her addiction was among her priorities, she didn't care anything. She ignored every red flag that there was. And I think that just made me even more, that much more annoyed with this broad. Because he doesn't go to the McDonald's. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even make a mention of taking the child to go eat it all once she gets in the car. Now, this is apparently what they had agreed to. But what happens is, once they get in the car, not only is he not going in the damn direction of the McDonald's, but he's telling her, my mama cooked. She can eat at the apartment. You remember the other day I said that in her testimony, this portion of her testimony just solidified that he was never interested in her in the first place. Yes, I do believe that there was some components of the crime that were opportunistic, but he wasn't interested in her. And I think he made up his friggin' mind when he went there to pick her up under the pretense. I don't think it was anything that he did impulsively. I think he was that detached from his emotions that he had already made up his mind what he was going to do. Clearly, he was detached from his emotions, because after he takes and brutally rapes and murders a 9-year-old little girl, while this dingbat is driving around buying weed for him, which was really nothing more than a ruse to get her out of the apartment and away from the little girl, he is able to have sex with this dingbat in the same apartment where his child's body is, in the next room. he had not disposed of her body. Moreover, he's able to get in her head and basically tell her, listen, not only does he lie about the fact that the child wanders off, she didn't spend a lot of time looking for Felicia either. She makes a quick run to the CVS where he says he sent Felicia for candy, doesn't see Felicia there. The clerk says Felicia hasn't come in there. Okay, so she does a beeline back for the apartment. This is before they have sex. And she was just as detached as he was. She doesn't go into a panic and saying, oh my God, I got this child. I took this child from her house. We're a ways away from her house. I'm the last person. I'm responsible for the child because her mother, she told her mother that she's with me. No, that's not what this broad does. What she does is have some Hennessy after she claims that she goes into the closet and prays. She has some Hennessy and then decides to have sex. And unbeknownst to her, Felicia's body was right there in that apartment. This was just disgusting. And he's able to tell her, listen, it's not going to be a good idea for you to tell people that there was a man involved. So here's a number, this Vivian person. Tell them that, you were showering. Basically, so she conjures up the story that she was showering when she came out, Felicia was gone. Then she changed the story again to they had put cartoons on for Felicia after she finally admits that there was a man involved. Well, they put cartoons on for the child. They went into the shower to have sex and came out and the little girl was gone. That's the second lie that she told. But he's able to tell her, listen here, it's not a good idea for them to know a man was involved. So we're going to make up this person by the name of Vivian. As a matter of fact, here's a number. Call her. Tell her the same lie. That she knew was a lie. See, his mother was also a fucking enabler. Because his mother knew it was a lie. And she knew she had not seen that child. So this dingbat didn't have the presence of mind to do anything, right? To do anything right. To protect the child. And his goddamn mother, as far as I'm concerned, her ass should have been right there with her son. Because she doesn't say, listen, I don't know what the hell you got going on. Or what's going on. But ain't no goddamn way I'm going to lie for you. And say I seen you with I was there when this 9-year-old kid was there. And the whole goddamn Tampa Police Department is looking for this damn child. Are you out of your fucking mind? But nonetheless, the mother conspires with Ebony Wiley to help her lie and create an alibi for her fucking son. That was the Vivian person that she had saved in her phone as Vivine. Okay? But her actual name, give me 1 second. Ooh, what the heck is that? Oh, sorry, y'all. That screeching. Let me turn down the gain in this microphone. Goodness. That was absolutely nerve-wracking. Okay? Now, his mother, who in my opinion should have been charged as a co-conspirator, his mother, the person that they created, whose supposed apartment it was, that character that didn't exist, her name was Vivian. So he gives her his mother's phone number and says, call her, she'll help you with the story that she knows is a lie. And she knows clearly that it's involving a child, right? Nonetheless, they concoct this cockamamie story. The mother alibis him. Her legal name is Gloria Gibson. And I'm just saying, like, so you got Felicia's mother, you got Ebony Wiley, and you got Gloria Gibson up to this point, and none of them have a goddamn bit of sense. Not even common sense. Okay? Ebony, date and drug addict Wiley. She didn't think any of these things were red flags or any of these things were a problem because that wasn't her priority. Her priority was getting some dick and getting her a free high. Because none of it makes any sense. Okay? None. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody protected this child. Nobody. And that would include her mother. But again, when you're talking about a criminal, when you're talking about because of the fact that the case ends so tragically, as it did in the instance of when I covered the Gregory Green, Faith Green case, because you're talking about the quadruple homicide of 4 children. Nobody really wants to ask, you have to walk on eggshells, and nobody really wants to ask a tough question. Like, why the fuck did you ever bring this dude around your kid in the first place? And my question would be, why the fuck was it okay for a 9-year-old child to hang out with a grown-ass woman that lived in a goddamn boarding house? That clearly her mother knew nothing about or either didn't care to know about. Did you know that she said her mother didn't know when she was coming or going? That's what she said. She said, no, it wasn't typical for her to contact her mother because Felicia, based on what I got, Felicia pretty much did what the hell she wanted to do. That's what I got from her testimony so far. And this is like my second or third time listening to it. And I didn't get anything different from it.
Right? Yes, sir. And it's decided that you were going to go and get some weed. Yes. All right. Now, at that point, you had a Molly and a half, or at least one Molly. It was one Molly he gave me. Okay. Well, he didn't force you to take the Molly, right? No, he knew that's what I took. That's what you liked, right? Yeah. Okay. And so, when you're getting ready to go and get the weed, Felicia wants to go with you, right? I told her she was going to go with me. And okay. You told her that I told her, come on. Okay, and then what happened? And then he's about, no, you don't have no license. She don't need to be driving in the car with you, knowing that you don't have no license. You better go and get some weed. Wasn't it, in fact, a community decision between yourself and Granville Ritchie that it wasn't a good idea for her to go with you as you're buying weed and your license was suspended? I didn't have no license. Okay. Did you decide, along with Granville Ritchie, that you would go by yourself? Yeah. Because it wasn't a good idea that Felicia would go with you when you're driving without a license to buy weed? Well, I looked at the deal. I was like, yeah, you is correct. Yeah. Well, when he said it, I said, yeah, you are correct. I overviewed it, yes. He didn't force you to do that. You both came up with that conclusion, right? Right. Right? Right. you met with Sergeant Roca with the Tampa Police Department, right?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes, I'm not sure what the person's name is.
I remember meeting with an officer with the Tampa Police Department, right?
Where, at Burger King or the police stations?
I'm sorry?
At Burger King or the police
No,
station?
no, no. At the Tampa Police Department on the 19th of May. You met with a police officer and you were questioned.
I believe so, I'm not sure. Fresh my memory.
Well, you went there along with a detective from Temple Terrace and you met with a person by the name of Sergeant Roca with the
Okay.
Tampa Police Department. You recall that?
Yeah. I believe
Okay. He asked you if you'd been doing any drugs over the past 24 hours, and you told him no. On May 19th, 3 days after May 16th, right?
so. I don't remember meeting with the police.
Do you recall telling the police officer that the girl wanted to...
Go ahead, ask the question, see if she recalls making a statement, and then if she says she doesn't recollect, she'll do it.
Thank you. Do you recall telling Sergeant Roca, she said that the girl wanted to go, but didn't because she was afraid if she was pulled over by police, she, Wiley, would get in trouble for not having a driver's license and for having marijuana. And then Miss Wiley said that both Miss Wiley and Trevor thought it was safe for the girl to stay at Trevor's apartment.
Okay, so we're trying to get into
Do you recall saying that to the law enforcement officer?
In a way, yes. To explain myself, yes.
When you came back from getting the weed, you were having problems punching in the code to get into the apartment complex, right?
Correct.
But then at some point, you were able to follow another car into the apartment complex without having to punch the code,
The
right?
first time?
Right,
The first time,
sure.
You know, it was a young guy, a young little boy opened the gate for me.
Okay. Are there, after you arrived initially on the 16th with Mr. Ritchie and Felicia Williams, are there 3 other times or 2 other times that you entered the apartment complex in a car?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, my question is 2 or 3?
I'm not having a time. I didn't count how many times.
Okay. Well, you come back after getting the weed.
Okay.
Do you actually get inside the apartment complex before you go to CVS?
No.
You sure?
No. I'm
Not
sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I turned around because I couldn't open the gate. He wasn't answering the phone. Then I turned around and when I went to CVS.
Okay. We see when you go to CVS, you go in there, you're not there very long, and then you come back out, right?
Right.
Okay.
I asked the clerk at the front.
Sure. And CVS is just minutes from the apartment, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you go back to the apartment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at this point, you get in. That's when the young boy lets you in. All right.
Yes.
And it's later on when you come back with your brother,
Okay.
person you referred as your brother, that you guys pull in behind another car.
Tailgate. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So when you get back from CVS,
Mhm.
you're there for about 2 hours.
Well,
When you get back from CVS, before you leave again, you're there for about 2 hours. Is that about right?
yeah.
Okay. You come in and you decide. Do you have some Hennessy when you come in?
When I came in, after I finished praying, yeah, I came back out of the closet and I believe I took a shot.
Okay. All right. So,
Right,
so
Kels.
You go in the closet. You're there about 10 minutes praying
Yeah.
with the door closed.
Person like 3, not even 10 minutes. I ain't wanting up that long.
Do you even have any idea how long you were there?
No, but I know it wasn't that long.
Okay. All right.
10 minutes.
Cool.
No.
For a period of time.
It wasn't that long. It was about like 3 or 5 minutes, sir.
Hennessy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then you guys had sex,
Yes.
all right? And Mr. Ritchie expresses concerns about the fact that Felicia had left the apartment, right?
Correct.
He's worried about the fact that she hasn't come back from the apartment, right? To you, he's saying, I'm concerned about Felicia not having come back, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you basically tell him, relax, it's okay, she'll be back.
Right.
Okay. Because you knew her better than he did, right? And you were comfortable that she wandered off, she did her thing, and she'll be back. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall, I believe you, around 8:30 or so, is when you call Felicia's sister, right?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that Cha-Cha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, your phone records will show whenever you called her, right?
Yes, sir.
And are you still at the apartment at that time?
I think so.
Okay, all right. And then at some point, you call your brother, the person you referred to as your brother. What's his name again? Kenny. And you meet up with him shortly before you meet up with Cha-Cha and with law enforcement. Is that
I was
correct?
standing with Cha-Cha before he came.
I'm sorry?
I was standing with Cha-Cha before my brother came.
Okay. When and where did you first meet Cha-Cha?
At the liquor store on 22nd.
Okay.
in Lake.
All right. What was the time period from the time when you called Cha-Cha until you met her? Do you know?
I don't know what time it is.
How'd you get there? To the liquor store.
I walked
How far of a walk is that from the apartment?
from my grandma's house.
Oh, from your grandma's house. That's right. You went from grandma's house.
Yes.
How far was that?
It's like a 2 or 3 minute walk.
Okay. How did you get to your grandma's house?
Granville dropped me off there.
Okay. So then you speak with Cha-Cha at the liquor store for how long?
I was like 10, 15 minutes until my brother got there.
Okay. And at that point, you have not done anything to try to look for Felicia Williams, right?
Other than when I went to CVS.
Other than going to CVS. Right. And we've seen the video. You go in, you come out, right?
Yes.
You didn't drive around the neighborhood.
But I don't remember.
Right. You were back in the apartment praying, drinking Hennessy, and having sex, right?
Uninfluenced, yes.
Right. Okay. So when you talk to Cha-Cha,
Yes.
what do you tell Cha-Cha about what happened to Felicia?
Oh, she's gone. I can't find her.
You tell her basically that you're at the apartment with Vivian, right? And that Cha-Cha, while you were showering, she left. No idea what happened, right?
Right.
Okay. So Cha-Cha, is that the first person you tell that story to?
Yes.
Okay. And then you tell that same story to the different law enforcement officers that show up at by the Burger King?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you continue to tell that story to all of Felicia's family members throughout the night?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Still no mother. Why in the hell are you telling Cha-Cha anything when the child is missing? Why didn't you contact her mother?
You tell, it's the next day, right?
Yes.
And that's when you indicate to law enforcement that Vivian is actually Trevor.
Yes.
You say Vivian is actually a man, or do you just say,
A man.
you say Vivian is a man?
So y'all, here's the Trevor is the alias, aka of Granville Ritchie. So this dingbat didn't even know his legal name. And again, no mother. Why are you talking with her sister about Felicia being missing? Why haven't you called her mother? If you could call her mother and say, Felicia, don't listen. Remember, she told Felicia, don't tell your mother where you are. Just tell your mother that you're with me, right? And what does that do? Create a sense of safety and comfortability for the mom who believes that the child is going to be safe because the child is with her.
And the person's name is Granville, right? Yes, sir. Okay. And let me go back to your first story briefly. I believe you had indicated on direct examination that Granville Ritchie had told you not to say that he was there, right?
Correct.
Okay, because he was concerned about being a man being there, right?
Correct.
And he was also concerned about having guns there, right?
Correct.
Okay. And beyond that, he didn't tell you what to say. He just said,
let them know that it was a woman there.
Right,
It was
exactly.
his mother.
And that's it, right?
Yes, and he gave me his mother name and his mother number.
Sure. The rest of the story is your story, right?
Correct.
And the part of that story where you say that you took Vivian's keys and you walked and you searched for Felicia Williams for 3 hours, complete BS, right?
Yes, that was a lie, sir.
Okay.
That was a legal term.
Sorry, Your Honor. That was a lie, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so the next day you tell the story and you say that Trevor was there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And now you indicate that the two of you picked up Felicia Williams, right?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Put on a cartoon
Yes.
for Felicia Williams to watch.
Yes.
And then went to the bedroom, take a shower, right?
Yes.
And then after about 35 minutes, checked on Felicia, and Felicia was gone.
Correct.
And then again, you say you were looking for Felicia Williams for 3 hours. It's not true, right? In the second story, you indicate that Granville parked the car outside of the CVS and you went inside to look for her. Is that true? So that's your second story, basically, right?
Yes. I told a lot of stories. But
Told a lot of stories.
yeah, I lied. I can admit that. Yes, I did lie. Yes, I was on drugs. Yes.
So that's almost to imply that if she wasn't on drugs, she would have told the truth. When the fact that she was on drugs has nothing to do with why she lied. She lied because she knew it was problematic for her to have taken the child to his apartment and to have left the child with him unattended. That's why she lied. It didn't have anything to do with her being on drugs.
Ms. Wiley, you lied twice to law enforcement, correct? For these two separate stories. And then ultimately, when you learned that Felicia Williams was found dead, you decided to tell the truth. I want to make this crystal clear. Have I or Mr. Harmon ever made any promises to you or spoken to you at all about the charges that you are facing? Your defense attorney that is here in this courtroom, he represents you on those charges, correct? And he told you he was going to be here to watch you testify. When you came down to the state attorney's office on August 7th of 2014, that's when you gave a sworn statement at the state attorney's office. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Harmon was present and another prosecutor, Ms. Hyman.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was from May 16th of 2014 to August 7th of 2014, a couple months after the incident.
Yes.
You had already been arrested on May 17th for the charges that you were facing. Is that correct?
Yes.
For the third-degree felony,
Yes.
for lying.
Yes.
When it was explained to you on that date about you could potentially face a first-degree felony, that was if you did not tell the truth. Is that correct?
Correct.
At that time, you were not facing a first-degree felony. No other charges than the one that you're still facing today. Is that correct?
And I'm sorry, y'all. That's yeah. It's basically a game of semantics. At the end of the day, had she not cooperated with the prosecution, I don't care how they word it, whether it's a first-degree felony, whether it's a third-degree felony, at the end of the damn day, if she was not on the witness stand, being the prosecution star witness, I can assure you her ass would be in jail for a whole lot more than lying to law enforcement to help a killer with their alibi. So yes, because that's the first thing that a defense attorney is going to say, well, you got some type of sweetheart deal. Well, no, she didn't. We've just basically told her that if she didn't tell the truth, no, nix all of that. Keep in mind, this is a court of law, but at the end of the fucking day, after she gets off of the stand, you know who comes on the stand? You know what lets you know they was not bullshitting about this case? Her granddaddy, who she called and asked, did he know where to get some weed at? They had his ass on the stand. He's the next witness after she's on the stand. You know who comes in after the fact? The dealer that they bought the weed from. And I can tell you this, he was more than happy to give the prosecution the verification that they needed. The drug dealer by the name of Mo, they had his ass on the stand too. And he admitted to the fact that he had sold her $10 to $15 worth of weed. So they had a granddaddy and the dealer that the granddaddy called for her to go and buy the weed from. That lets you know they were not bullshit. So I don't care what they're saying. They have to say that, well, you weren't offered anything, were you? No, make no mistake about it. If she didn't have her black ass on that stand, acting as a prosecution witness, they'd have threw the book at that bitch. That's why the only thing she was charged with or facing charges with is lying to law enforcement. That's what saved her ass, being a prosecution witness. Because when you think about it, when it's said and done, he committed the crime. He's the one who did it. You didn't do anything to the child. She didn't kidnap the child. It was not a crime for her to be with the child. So why the fuck would you lie for this nigga? Why would you lie for him? She had not done anything to Felicia. She had taken her to someplace. And basically, she would have been responsible for lying to the child's parent about where the child was or who else was there, but she didn't do anything to the child. But this just goes to show you that even when a child's life is at stake, these motherfuckers will lie to protect themselves. Even though there would have been nothing that she could have done that would have changed the outcome, because keep in mind, y'all, Felicia was already dead. She had already expired. There's no doubt in my mind that the minute that she walked out of that apartment, that he realized that she was good and gone, he attacked that. He attacked her. Sexually assaulted her and brutally strangled her while he was doing that. So nothing that she would have done would have changed that outcome. But there's a reason why they have Amber Alerts in the first place, because they know that when they don't find the child within the first 24 hours, the chances increase that the child is going to be deceased when they do actually find the child. Let me drop the call-in number. For those who want to call in, I'll drop the link for anybody who wants to come up and chime in on this part of the testimony. Like I said, this is going to be a case that's going to last over several days, because I want to take and break apart. There are several witnesses, including the psychiatrist. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think I may save the psychiatrist testimony, the one that the psychiatrist, Dr. Emily Lazaro, who basically diagnosed him as having antisocial personality disorder. Okay, so the link is in the chat, and the call-in number for anybody that wants to call in. Anybody that calls in with any trolling, this is not that type of show. So I'm not going to entertain, anybody doing any trolling. Let me type the call-in number in the chat for you guys. And it's just basically, I don't have like a conference number or anything like that set up yet. I plan to in the future, but for right now, this is the call-in number. Put that. I'll start putting that in the so that's the call-in number. But let's it's just a few more minutes of her testimony, and then I'll go through what else I have, or what else I came up with, and you're more than welcome to participate from the chat, and or type questions, or your opinions in the chat as well. Okay, so let's finish. We got maybe about not even 10 more minutes worth of testimony left.
Then again, you were questioned by defense counsel at a deposition that you were asked about previously. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where you came down on June 17th of 2019. Was that the date that you came down? And you had to answer questions that Mr. Bunbun asked you?
Yes.
And that was over 5 years after the incident.
Yes.
Did you tell the truth during your statement on August 7th of 2014?
Yes.
Did you tell the truth on June 17th of 2019?
Yes. Blatant to the truth when they interviewed me, yes. As far as I can remember, yes.
And did you include, and you told the lies that you originally told, and then you told the truth? Is that correct?
Yes.
This beautiful soul, do me a favor, delete any comment. If anybody comes in, excuse me for 1 second. Mods, if anybody comes into the chat, if I'm not having that type of live stream, if anybody comes into the chat, delete the comment. Like that comment, that wild card type there. That's basically you coming into my chat room attempting to promo. And clearly, there's nothing in the title. There's nothing that's been discussed from the platform. There's nothing that you hear that's going on that would explain coming into my chat room typing about something or someone I don't give a rat's ass about. Do not come into my chat room plugging any damn body. And don't come into my chat typing any other content creator's name. Clearly, it's not that type of stream. You do it again, you're getting blocked. Mods, don't allow anybody to type any content creator's name at all in the chat. Even when I'm doing other types of streams, we did in that. They have to type something in lieu of that. But this it's when I'm doing these type of streams, when I'm doing my actual content, do me a favor, nip that, just snipe that comment. You don't have to snipe the individual just yet, but just snipe the comment. Thank you. Okay, let's finish up.
You were asked about the difference between ecstasy and Molly, and it's different when you look at it. What do you mean by that?
If you put it right here on the table, right here, it was one look like a circle, one look like a crystal. So I'm saying that it makes me feel the same as in sexual, energetic, talkative, stuff like that. But it's not the same ecstasy deal. You can say it's ecstasy. Do I know exactly what's in those two different things? No.
On May 16th of 2014, did you take the crystal form or the pill? On May 16th of 2014, when the defendant showed you the bag when you were driving to the apartment, was that a crystal form or a pill form, the Molly?
The crystal form.
When you were talking to the defendant on May 16th of 2014, when you were at work and you were talking to the defendant about wanting to talk to Felicia about your concerns about her, whose idea was it to go and sit down and talk to Felicia at the McDonald's?
His idea.
And was it his idea that he be present for that conversation?
Yes.
Was the idea that the McDonald's was going to be close to Felicia Williams' home?
Which is on Hillsborough. That's what I thought.
And when you left Felicia's home, did you go in that direction at all?
No.
Whose idea was it to go to Checkers?
Yes.
Did he originally say that he wanted to take her to his house because his mother had prepared food? When was the conversation about his mother had prepared food and you said, well, she's not going to eat your mother's food?
As I seen that we was going in a different direction, I had asked her to throw it out there like, is you hungry? Did you eat? She's like, no, I just ate a bag of chips. And then, which was our idea was to take her to McDonald's. And then he looked like, he just said out of the room, he said, my mama cooked her. And I'm looking like, she's not going to eat that food. And then that's when we went to Checkers.
And so that was his decision to go to Checkers. And you said that that was not a place that you could sit down and talk to Felicia
I
Williams
didn't
at.
look at it like that.
When the defendant showed you the pill that you took on May 16th of 2014, was that the same pill that you took or that he gave you the first night you met him? So he knew a couple nights before how it was going to affect you, that you become more sexual.
Yeah.
And he offered you that pill when you were driving, you were sitting in the passenger seat and he was driving you with Felicia that day.
Yeah.
When you got to the apartment and you spoke to Felicia, and then he had asked you to go and purchase marijuana, between the time you got there and he asked you to go purchase marijuana, did anything sexual happen between you and the defendant? When you were leaving to go purchase the marijuana, did you say anything to Felicia about coming with you to go to your grandfather's house to purchase the marijuana?
Yeah.
What did you tell her?
I told her come home.
Did she go with you?
She was getting up to go, and he was like, no, she don't need to go. You don't have no driver's license, and you better go and get weed.
So it was his idea that she was going to be safer staying with him than riding along with you.
Pretty much.
When you went back to the apartment after purchasing the marijuana, did you enter in the code that he had provided you? Did the code work that he had provided you?
No.
When you went back after CVS, did you attempt to use that same code to get in the gate?
Yeah.
Did it work? Do you remember what code you pushed in?
No.
You stated yesterday that it was the same number over and over.
Over and over. Yeah.
It was a little confusing on cross-examination, so I want to make it clear. The defendant, when you two left the apartment that night, he didn't drop you off at the liquor store, did he?
He dropped me off to my grandma.
At your grandmother's house. Was that near the liquor store? It was also stated that, and then referenced that the call logs would be more accurate, what time you called Cha-Cha. Showing DD6. Cha-Cha baby, the last call down here on the last page, that call at 21:16 hours, it's 9:16. Is that when you spoke to Cha-Cha about meeting you at the liquor store?
So where she wanted me to meet her at.
And did you call her when you were at your grandmother's, walking, or before you got to your grandmother's?
Well, I was staying outside my grandma's house.
The second lie that you told, it was discussed here that the cartoon was placed on the TV for Felicia and that you and the defendant went in the shower. Did sex occur during that shower? You and Granville didn't have sex, or the lie that you told, did it include sex or not sex? The second lie, when you said that there was a man involved.
Did I let them know? Say it again?
Okay. The second lie you told, when you finally said that it was a man,
Okay.
but it wasn't the truth, not the third statement, the second one, where you said it wasn't a woman, it was a man. And defense counsel asked you that you placed a cartoon on for Felicia Williams, which was a lie, that didn't happen, correct?
Correct.
And then you went into the shower with this man, Trevor.
Correct.
Did sex occur, or was it just the shower, that you two were in the shower?
No, we had sex in the shower. That was the lie that I told.
It was a lie.
Yes.
But did you tell law enforcement that you had sex?
Yes.
But that was a lie.
Yes.
Okay. this story initially, the first story, that it couldn't be that you left Felicia with him. Is that correct?
Right.
It needed to be a woman. Is that right?
Right.
Who was the first person that said it needed to be a woman? Did he provide you with the woman's name?
Yes.
What was the name?
Vivian.
Did he provide you with his mother's phone number?
Yes, he did.
And did he tell you to reach out to her?
Yes.
Did he tell you to tell her this lie?
Yeah. He said tell her and let her know.
I'm showing you DD4 text messages that occurred between you and the defendant on May 16th of 2014 that's already been introduced into evidence. And I'm showing you this text here. Was that the phone number and the name that he had provided you to contact? Yes?
Yes.
Publishing DD4. On May 17th of 2014, my husband, number 727-288-3413, the message contact Vivette 813-793. If I hold my hand here, it becomes really clear. The content of the text, Vivette 813-793-5727 now. Was that a message the defendant sent you to contact Vivette, his mother, and to contact her now at 12:23 a.m. on May 17, 2014?
Yes.
And when you contacted Gloria Gibson, Vivette, and you told her that this was a lie that you needed her to cooperate with, she knew this was a lie because she was never there at the house with Felicia Williams, correct?
Correct.
Maybe I'm Your Honor?
Yes.
That would be absolutely correct. She knew it was a lie.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that was that. After that, the next person to testify was actually her grandfather. Her granddaddy got up there and spilled the beans. Granddaddy looked like he was high off of weed on the stand. Okay. But here's the other thing. He intentionally gave her the wrong code to delay her accessibility to that apartment. And clearly, what we know is that it was his idea. When I said that the child was his target, because if it's his suggestion to take her to McDonald's, and when you get in the vehicle, he goes in the opposite direction of the McDonald's, that was his goal from the beginning. It wasn't done impulsively. He premeditated that. And he knew that she was a dingbat and that he would be able to get easy accessibility to that child. And again, it was to discuss her coming to her job during school hours I don't even think, honestly, y'all, that it was about the school hours. I think it was about her coming to her job and her superior reprimanding her verbally about the child being there on the job. Because that's a conversation you would have had with the mother. Why in the hell, if you know a 9-year-old child is missing, do you call the child's sister and say, meet me at the damn liquor store? Where is her damn mother at? Why didn't you? Her mother, she didn't even have to wait for her mother. By the time she called her mother, she should have already been in contact with law enforcement. This is not a damn adult. It's a 9-year-old child. I'm not understanding what part. I mean, I got my sis Kels and my sis Brandy on the panel. Go ahead, sis. Chime in. Go ahead, Brandy.
Hey, Kels. Hey, sis. What's going on,
What's
everybody in
good,
the
sis?
chat?
How are you? All
Listen,
right.
I am so heated right now because it's just so much wrong with this shit. First of all, she's a liar, so her credibility is shot. Second of all, if this dude giving her mollies and ecstasy, you mean tell me he can't get his own weed? Okay, and if she doesn't have a license, why wouldn't she just say, you go get the weed? You are in charge of this little girl. You are supposed to be there with her. So I'm not understanding all this bullshit that this chick is up here trying to save her ass on. It is just disgusting to me. And I want to ask you a question, Cookie. Why wouldn't they charge her? I know they're not going to charge her because she's working with the prosecution. But shouldn't she be charged with child endangerment or
Absolutely. She should have gotten
accessory to murder or something?
absolutely. She should have gotten way more charges.
Way more charges.
Way more charges than that, because not only was it, when you think about it, not only did she waste resources,
Right.
but they could have possibly, there was nothing that could have been done to save the child at that point because she was already dead. But the fact that she led this damn wild goose chase.
Right. That's not right. Exactly. And I mean, she wants that penis that bad. Well, how you sleeping with a man over another person's child? And you do what you want to do with your own child. But I'm just heated. I don't understand how she getting off like that. So that's
I
all I
think
had
they
to. Huh?
I think they needed, I think her testimony was critical. I think it helped them crunch the timeline. And make
Okay.
no mistake about it, the only reason why she only got a 3rd-degree felony for lying to law enforcement, and if I'm not mistaken, her sentence in and of itself is in, somebody's calling in. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay. I'm gonna go on
Hold
mute.
on.
Okay.
All right, sis, hold on.
Okay.
Hello. I'm not certain who that was that called. If you can call back, hold on. I'm not certain who that was that called. Then if you could call back in. I'm sorry, I just have the other window open. I'm sorry, sis. Did you finish your thought?
Yeah, I just wanted to say. So, do you know if is she gonna get any time, or is it just gonna be like some probation with some
Sis,
with
when
a
you get to
fine?
the penalty with this chick guy, I don't even think this chick served 6 months in jail.
God damn! Wow. Okay, that's all I had to say. I'm gonna go on mute. Okay.
All right, sis.
All
Hold
right.
on.
Okay.
Let me answer this call. Hold on. Let me see who this is. Okay. Hello. Now, whoever that is just going to be blocked because nobody has time to play games. Okay. So hold on. Let me block that number, y'all. Okay. I don't know who that was. Oh, that's you, fashionista. Hold on. Let me unblock you. I'm answering it. Let me make sure I'm hitting the right thing. Wait a minute, sis. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm answering the right thing. Wait a minute. Unblock the number. All right. Okay. Try it one more time, sis. Hey, Kels.
Hi, Miss Cookie. Hi, Brandy. Hi, sis.
Hey, Kels, what's up,
How you
sis?
doing?
All
I'm
right.
doing fine. I got a question. Did they not have enough evidence to charge her with accessory, especially with all the lies she had just told?
I think that they had enough evidence to charge her. I think they had enough evidence to charge her with an accessory, but I think they needed her testimony. I think her testimony was actually critical because she was actually the one who was in the apartment. She was the one that helped him create the story. She was the one that could poke holes in the story. And what I do know is that when it comes to the prosecution, a lot of times in cases where it doesn't they basically have to make deals with these people, even though they didn't make a deal with her. The sentence that they gave her is indicative of them making a deal or them being very lenient with her because of her cooperation. Even though they didn't promise her anything, they were definitely lenient with her. But she, in my opinion, she's culpable because not only did she lie, she basically watched the family search for this child, watch law enforcement search for the child, and the whole damn time she knew that she had when the last time it was that she seen the child, and she knew she had left the child there with this man that she didn't friggin' know.
And still continued her night.
Yes,
Didn't
and
even
got up
put in
and
no force of looking for her. It just seems like a lure.
listen. When I thought about, one of the things I thought about was it was cringy to me for her to say that she had made a decision to talk to her about coming to her job. I mean, like, oh, well, okay, well, was it to punish her? Like, what could you talk to a 9-year-old about coming to your job about that you didn't think was appropriate to talk to her mother about?
I mean, she could have talked to her outside the door. They didn't have to take her to McDonald's,
Right,
Checkers, or to the house. You could have addressed that at the door.
right,
That's why it comes off as a lure to me.
right. Or her being her definitely being a little bit more complicit than her just being some drug hazed, dick dizzy broad that was just, going along. We don't know. What I do know is that there have been instances, I've seen cases where women have sold their children to men for sex, for drugs. So we don't know if that's the case. Or either she's just, remember there was a case in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, North Carolina. And I recall it being, if I'm not mistaken, it was a biracial child. And they caught the guy. The mother had sold the child it was a 5-year-old, beautiful little girl. The mother had sold the child to the dealer for crack. And he's seen on CCTV carrying the child into the motel room, and ultimately, there's this search party for the child, and they find the child in some type of brush in North Carolina somewhere. And ultimately, the mom was the one who basically rented out her daughter at 5 years old to this man who takes the child to some motel, sexually assaults the child, and then kills her. So I'm not. It's just, it gives me very cringy vibes.
Yes,
about why any of this would be okay with her. Somebody else is on the call. Somebody's on the call line. Who is that? Is that you, Fashionista? Oh, they hung up. I'm sorry. I got to get a call in line so that way it can be able to talk. But go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That's her again. Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Her signal might be dropping. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me, Cookie?
Yep, I can hear you, baby.
Okay, I was just wondering. Peace to the chat, peace to you, Cookie, and everybody on the panel.
Peace.
This is just it's just so disturbing and on so many levels. As a mother, as a grandmother, as an auntie, we all have And it's just capital murder.
Absolutely. It's a capital murder case because they charged him. I'm sorry. They charged no, they charged him with the murder. They charged him with capital sexual assault on a victim younger than 12 years old. So it was capital murder case. Go ahead.
Okay. It's like, how could you not understand that?
Not without it. Clearly, I kind of felt like they were just trying to put it all on the fact. Here's the thing. When she set this appointment, when she set up this date, okay, because clearly that's what it was as far as I'm concerned, because she had sex with this dude the first night that she met him on the 14th of December. I'm sorry, on the 14th of May of 2014, she had sex with the dude. This was basically a re-hookup. Now, mind you, he called her at work. So the fact that he called her at work, she was not under the influence when she set this up. So for them to all put it on the fact that this only happened because she was under the influence of drugs, no. When she made the decision to meet up, even though she didn't know initially that they were going to the apartment, when she made the decision to meet up with him, and when he called, when they were talking while she was at work, I think that was, I'm gonna drop the link again. I'm not certain what happened. I think she might have been having trouble connecting. But did y'all hear that part of the testimony where he called her at when they were talking, whether she called him or he called her, they were talking while she was still at work, and they had basically decided together that they would meet, they would take her to McDonald's and have the conversation about the child coming to her job. She said to the second lawyer, the first lawyer was a defense attorney. The woman attorney that was questioning her was actually the prosecutor. Okay, so what the prosecutor asked her was, whose suggestion was it that you meet at McDonald's to have the conversation with the little girl? She said it was his. Okay, then she asked who's who's, basically it was his decision. So they had planned this in advance before she even went to the house to pick the little girl up. They had already made arrangements to do this.
So by the time he seen the girl, you think she was sizing her up then?
Absolutely. That was his target. I don't believe he was interested in her at all.
Wow. And my thing is, while you sitting here, you didn't notice, look into that nigga's eyes at McDonald's and looking at that little girl.
She probably was too starry-eyed. Remember, she saved. Right. She saved. Listen. Listen. You know what I said? Which she said. Oh, thank you. Oh, she just wanted to give me the free conference call. Thank you. I appreciate that. She wanted to give me the free conference call link. I appreciate that, sis. You know, I think that a lot. It's not unknown. It's not unheard of that these type of individuals select children. Predators usually groom children, okay, when they don't just abduct them from off of the street, and it's not unheard of for them to actually go through. They prey on. When you think about Sandusky, those were children that were disadvantaged. They tend to pick children that they believe that nobody, in cases like this, where there was clearly negligence, because there's no reason why a 9-year-old should have ever been hanging out with an adult in the first place. And despite the fact that the child goes missing, she still does not connect with the mother. And what she says is that Felicia's mother didn't know when she came and when she went, that she pretty much did what she wanted to do. That was her testimony on the stand. Now, I've yet to get to her mother's testimony to see what her mother said, but that's going to be another aspect of the testimony to consider. But I wanted to go through the women to see how, this guy was able to manipulate. Mind you, this guy actually was living with another woman, but that was not the only woman. There was actually another woman that he had flying in who also gives her testimony. I believe her name is Ivy.
Interesting. I would like to hear that testimony, but I'd like to go deeper too, because if he out here, setting up, looking at children, I want to go back to his history where he used to live. It don't sound like this is first time. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
First time, and I believe wherever he was before he met her, he was doing that, setting up women for little kids, because it was just too easy, for him to attack that little girl, just have the whole scenario up in his mind, and to just go forth with that, and
absolutely.
That's how I'm looking at it. This ain't his first time doing this with little kids.
No, it may not be his first time doing it with the child. It may not be the first time he committed the act of murder.
Right.
At all.
That's what I'm thinking. Right.
At
That's
all.
what I'm thinking. And it's just a sad situation. Like I said, just thinking about it. I would like to hear more testimony. I'm gonna let them get off the line, and because my StreamYard not working that good, but so I had to call him.
Okay.
Peace to that. Peace to y'all. And we should have more call-ins, because this is just, I don't know.
Yes, we definitely will. There was that's what she had got on the panel. What she got on the panel to get, her name is Miss, I'm going to give you her name is Miss 5. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Her name is 5'9" plus size beauty. I believe her name is Joyce, but her name is 5'9" plus size beauty in the chat. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she did give me a calling number. So when the next time I go live, which will be tomorrow, probably after I leave the doctor's office, and go into other testimony. But we're definitely going to break it down, and it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not one of those. It's a complex case, so it's not one of those cases that you can cover in just one stream, because it's a lot of complexities to it. And again, this is a dude that was diagnosed by a psychiatrist. I'm going to try now. My appointment is at 9:00, and I got my grandson there, so I'm going to say it may be about 1. I may schedule it for about 1. I'm going to try to keep it at the same time. And once my grandson, because I have my grandson, I'm going to try to schedule it around his nap time, so it'll be probably close between noon and 2 o'clock.
Okay, that'll work perfect for me from around my time, because I'm like a couple of hours ahead of you guys, because I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Nice to hear the voice behind the name.
Right. That's why I say, I definitely got to get a call-in number, because everybody doesn't hit links, but it's nice to be able to talk to get different perspectives on it, because I know different people. Once you listen to something, somebody else may have some takeaways that you may have never thought of, and at the end of the day, the most important thing is awareness. Now, keep in mind, we're not talking about, these are not Caucasian people. These are people that look just like us, everyday, basically normal looking people. And this was an African American defendant that did this, that was diagnosed as a psychopath. Yep.
Wow. And like you said, awareness. You
yes.
aware.
Yep.
Of your surroundings and especially your kids, your nieces, your nephews. You can't have your little kids around. None of these niggas around here. You just don't never know.
You can't. Not with
You
strangers.
don't know what kind of mind state they're in. You don't know their history. You know what I'm saying? You got to be very protective of your folks. You just do. If you care anything about them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So thank you for calling in. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you again, sis.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you.
But I got something to say real quick. So here's my thing. Okay, so see, I don't trust this bitch. It's something ain't right with her, because if he called her at work
Exactly.
for them to hook up later on, why wouldn't you put off talking to Felicia about whatever she came to your job till another time? The other kids wanted to go, but you didn't let them go. So why wouldn't you just leave Felicia and go on and do your little dick run with this dude? Something ain't right. I just think that this woman knew something, because
Exactly.
why are you taking this little girl with you when you already know what your hookup is with this dude? That conversation with Felicia, it wasn't like she set her job on fire. I mean, she came up to the job. That couldn't wait. So it's something, and she's a liar, so she has no credibility. So I just think something else is going on too. I don't trust it. I don't
The
trust
other
it.
thing is that the other thing I kept thinking about is, okay, if you're able to know that my sister dropped off, I said, if you're able to know that when you take this pill that you become more sexual, more spiritual, more out, so clearly she knew, she's able to recollect what type of effect the pill has on her. So there is some awareness there, but she's trying again. It's making my arse hurt that she basically keeps trying to pass it off as, her being under the influence. At the end of the day, she knew, if you're able to recollect 5 years after the crime what effect the pill had on you, and recollect a bad trip that you had several years before the crime was even committed, then you know what type of effect it has.
That's why the
So you
lawyer
don't
kept
know whether or
asking.
not she was sometimes right. Sometimes these women, keep in mind, you have women that are sadistic and sometimes join in on these crimes of a sexual nature when it comes to not only child victims but other women. They participate in sexual assaults. That's a part of them getting their gratification, watching the male sexually assault the woman. That's how you have couples that kill people together. Serial killers that kill couples. We're going to be covering some of them too. But it's just not, to me, I just don't buy that. I didn't have any knowledge of what, she was a lot more aware. The elaborate lie that she created and that she was willing to go along with. Again, she had no allegiance. She didn't owe this dude anything. This was a dude that she had only known for 3 goddamn days. This is a child that you had some type of rapport or relationship with. And the fact that she didn't feel any fucking obligation to protect her, it was more about her getting her jollies off and her getting high more than anything else. She just saw it as someplace that she could get free high and she can get fucked at the same time. So damn Felicia. And that's pretty much the way that it was. I don't think she cared.
At all. And I feel like that weed run, since she only paid about $10 or $15, she was trying to use that as an alibi.
Yeah, I agree.
So y'all think that she knew that Felicia was going to be sexually assaulted?
I feel like I do. I feel like she's a conspiracy to it.
I think something
she has a hand in setting this up as well. She knew.
Exactly, I do, because they had sex before. Okay, so this was another hookup they were having. So, let's just keep it real as adults. When you're having sex, people say things and do things. I don't know. He might have given some kind of, he might have said something, did something that gave her that indication. I just, I don't know. It's just not right. It doesn't make sense. Why would I say, okay, Cookie, I'm gonna keep your grandson. Let me, but I know I'm getting ready to go hook up with some man. But I'm gonna take your grandson. Why would I do that?
But then tell the girl to tell her mother, don't tell your mom where you are.
Right. Don't
Absolutely.
tell your mama.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew exactly. So you
Mm-hmm.
knew it was wrong out the
Yep.
gate.
Yep.
Why are you talking to a child? I have a problem with any adult that has adult conversations with a kid. Why are you telling this child to lie to her mama?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-uh.
Mm-hmm. But at the
Yeah.
same time, pretending that you such a role model that you want to talk to her about coming to your job during school hours, you want to give her, y'all only got together to give her some sort of correction.
And she
But
don't even know this man.
right.
But yet he can call her job.
Mm-hmm.
He could call
Mm-mm.
the job
Or I think he called her cell phone.
or her cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she
So
knew
what
what
do
it
y'all
was.
think about the mother? About the mother knowing it was a lie and going along with the lie.
He's done this before. It was too easy for him to give his mother's information, like he knew she was gonna lie for him.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And like Fashionista said, that she believed that he has done that before in his
He did.
home, in his country. He has. And then by you saying, Cookie, that his father, had some high held position, he probably kept him out of jail.
Right. He was the Don. He was a Don in
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Right.
And
So he kept him out of jail,
Mm-hmm.
probably. Yeah.
And they have really strong political. They basically call them strong men, and they have very strong political ties. And one of the things that, like, when you think about people that have people that are Dons, when you think about their connections, as it relates to Florida, think about the Jamaican Shower Posse. One of the
Mm-hmm.
dudes that was sent to prison, that was kind of like the protege for 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 uh for the leader. Well, he's in jail in New York right now for drug trafficking, but that was a part of the position that he held, and that's kind of like how he was able to get done what he was able to get done. He was a Don,
Mm-hmm.
so, and they have the politicians in their pocket,
Right.
so but they use that during the penalty phase, where they started, where they were trying to basically, because it was a death penalty case, so that was one of the things that they tried to introduce, that maybe it was the result of his father's abuse. That was one of the things that they tried to basically get out there in front of the jury, for sympathy, to basically say he was abused by his father. But the prosecution also said, but there's also certain privileges and perks that he was used. Basically, this dude did not have some rough upbringing. Okay,
Right.
he actually had a very privileged upbringing, went to private schools and all of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
What led to you said he was diagnosed with being a psychopath?
yes. Mm-hmm.
What exactly did he do for them to diagnose him?
Well, he was evaluated. They do a mental health assessment to basically. One of the defenses was that he had some sort of brain damage, that his brain, he had suffered some sort of brain damage. The defense had tried to imply, because anytime that there's a death penalty case, anything that they can put out there to try to save their client's life, that's exactly what they're going to do. So they were saying that he had some type of brain damage. There was another psychiatrist that was a psychiatrist for the prosecution that said no. She has a testimony that's about 23 minutes long, where she clearly says basically there's not a damn thing wrong with him. He's antisocial personality disorder. And she looked over the same evidence. She said, as a matter of fact, based on what she knew about him, I think there were thousands of I think she said 3,000 pages that she had on this guy. Based on what she found in those documents, she would have never even ordered a damn scan for his brain. So that was just fluff. That the fluff that was just a plot on the defense attorney's behalf to try to imply that he had some sort of brain damage
And he wasn't in his right mind.
Right.
Oh yeah, that is what they do.
They did that with that Jodi Arias case. Tried to say something was wrong with her. Wasn't nothing wrong with her either. You know.
Yeah, the bitch was crazy.
Okay.
She was a fucking bunny boiler. That's what was wrong with the bitch.
Wrong with her shit. And he's just a deviant demon ass. Oh my God. I can't. A 9-year-old baby girl. That's just, that's sick. You know, and these women that enable that shit.
That set you up, lure you into the hands of these predators.
Yeah.
And it's not like she didn't know, because I know she knew about him.
She knew. I'm with you on that. She knew.
And here's the whole thing, y'all. Have y'all seen the picture? I'm going to put the picture of him up on the screen for y'all to see. Now, that's what he looked like at the time that he was arrested. But tomorrow, I'm going to show some pictures of what this guy looks like after he had sat in jail for a couple of years. He was just god awful, disgusting. I don't see what was so, you know, I don't know. I'm sure that the gift of gab had a lot to do with it, but I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
He looks crazy. He looked crazy right here.
Yeah,
when you look in his eyes.
Yeah, he looks like he's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't look right.
Yeah. Every picture I looked at this dude, I said, this motherfucker looks like something is wrong with him. He gives you that creepy, he gives you that whole damn creepy vibe. So I was just trying to figure out, how was this dude able to just finesse all of these freaking women like that? And again,
that accent, that
listen,
Jamaican accent.
And you know what else they said? That's why I shared the link for Sandra's blog, Women Who Love Psychopaths, because that's going to be one of the books, Women Who Love Psychopaths, Narcissists, and Sociopaths, because that's going to be one of the books that I cover when I start doing the book readings. But one of the things that they talk about when it comes to psychopaths is that those are described by their victims and their targets as some of the most gratifying sexual toe curling sexual experiences that the women have ever had. Now, why that is, I don't know. Sometimes they can have sex. There was a woman in the book that but they have an insatiable sexual appetite. Okay, and they don't have sex for the same reasons that normal people have sex. And a part of the thing, when the doctor gave her testimony, she said that that was a part of the reason why he was gaining so much weight, or why he had gained so much weight, because he was substituting the food for the sex.
Okay. So he put on some weight. Okay. Wow.
Yes, Macmillan. And listen, do you realize that that Jackson McKenzie, the one who wrote the book Psychopath Free, he also has an amazing blog called Psychopath Free. Do you realize that he's actually a gay man? He is actually a gay man. And that was one of the most, I want to say, Sandra's book is probably the best. His, in my opinion, is the next best. It's called Psychopath Free, and it's by Jackson McKenzie, who talks about what his experience was like with a psychopath. And I think, when did I read that book? I want to say maybe like 2008, about 2000. I read Sandra's book in 2007. And I'm going to order the revision of it. They have an e-edition of it, a Kindle version of it, and they have the actual book. But I want to order the actual book. And then they have
you say McKenzie?
Jackson McKenzie.
Okay, Psychopath Free.
It's an awesome book. I didn't care much for the second book that he wrote, but the first one was absolutely awesome. So yes, that is one of the things that they describe. You know, that the experience, that's where their whole term soul ties comes from. because even after the relationship ends, they almost have to because of the dynamics of the relationship, they almost have to go through a friggin' detox after they leave these relationships to break those soul ties with them. That's why a lot of times their victims stay bonded to them like that because of the sex. That's how you get relationships where the relationships are dysfunctional and toxic, but nonetheless, the sex is amazing.
That's with those narcissists too.
Yeah.
Because my God, you got to detox. I know I
Mm-hmm.
had to detox. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta like literally disappear without a trace
Yes.
from a narcissist.
You
Yes.
do. I was in a relationship with one. My goodness. Oof. I'm telling you, it's been years and years, but that was something.
And that's what they say the experts say that all psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths. So that's the opinion of, and then the debate in the medical community, as far as the psychiatric medical community, is that they believe that it was based on Sandra's research, and she's been in this field. I don't know if you all have ever heard of Susan Murphy Milano, but she actually used to be a co-host. She wrote a book entitled Time's Up. Her mother was actually murdered by her father, who was a police officer. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually from Chicago. Okay. And she's deceased now. She died of cancer several years ago. But she's been in this field, I want to say, closer to 30 years. And based on her research, I believe that, they believe that they're born that way, that their brains are wired differently. So there is no rehabilitation. Their brains are wired differently. When they do CAT scans on them, their brain doesn't even react to in the same ways that normal people's brain reacts. Now, Dr. Robert Hare is probably the expert on psychopaths because he actually wrote the psychopathy checklist. But and he's a Canadian psychiatrist, but they've done test after test after test on these people, and their brain just doesn't work. Their brain is just wired differently. That's not the same thing with a narcissist and sociopaths. I think that they're more environmentally based. It could start from, it could originate from childhood, but it's usually based on the environment, whereas psychopaths are actually just born that way.
Yeah, because don't they say that about pedophiles too? That they can't be rehabilitated because
They can't.
They can't, right? Yeah.
No.
I thought I heard that before.
I would think that if anybody could rationalize having sex with a child, I wouldn't even need an expert to tell me that that's not a person that is so sick that they can never be, that there's no hope for them. Because you have to be able to wrap your brain around that.
Yeah.
Your brain says that that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's a male child or whether it's a female child.
Exactly.
What says that that's okay? And if a person can rationalize that and violate and hurt a child in that way,
right,
for their own gratification, you don't even need an expert to tell you that a person like that can't be helped.
Exactly.
Nope. That's a damn shame. There's some sick people out here.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Protect your children.
Indeed.
Protect your children. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
And yourself.
Yes.
Yes. And
yes. Yes. Well,
there's no limit.
Right? No, not at all. And you know what I said? I said people will say sometimes, "Well, why are you covering only that?" Yeah, well, for years and years and years, we've known about non-black serial killers. We've known about non-black killers and things like that, non-black serial rapists and such. At the end of the day, it's important for us to know, and for us to be aware of the fact that no, these people exist among us. That's the reason why so many of our sisters are getting hurt, because there's this false sense of security that there's this safety that doesn't exist.
That's true.
Yes, it's supposed to be awareness.
Right, because you could listen, there was a time you would listen to the news and you could hear the story and you'd be like, Nah, that ain't us. That's them.
Right.
That ain't us. We don't do nothing like that.
Right,
But
right.
we do. You
Sitting
know.
around with folks that you got the dude up there in Ohio. I think the one in Ohio, he just basically died in prison. He got the death penalty, but he ended up dying in prison. Anthony Sowell, this dude is sitting there.
Yeah.
He got chicks coming to the house, bringing them food and checking on them, and you don't know it's 9 goddamn bodies in the house. You don't smell anything out of the place.
Wow.
You, for all of this time, you've allowed this motherfucker to tell you it's the sausage factory across the. Listen, the man that run the sausage factory was mad as shit. Said, "Listen, I done spent thousands of dollars." This nigga got dead, and y'all got me thinking it's my sausage factory, and the whole time it's dead bodies over there.
That's crazy.
I don't know how, and you know what? It is because they were poor Black women on drugs.
Yeah.
Because you've seen videos, we've seen video of a woman jumping out of the damn building, the one that actually got away, jumping out of the building naked after she had escaped.
Didn't you do that story?
Nope, but I'm going to.
Okay. I remember that story. I remember that. Yeah,
that's definitely going to be one.
Yeah, they were drug addicts and prostitutes.
Yeah. Have y'all seen that movie? And maybe we can watch that. Maybe that's one of the ones we can watch in like a maybe like we can have like a what do you call it? We can have like a showing of it where it's called Unseen. It's actually on it's actually on YouTube. I got YouTube Premium, so I'm able to watch it for free. But they have a movie called Unseen, okay, on YouTube that covers the Anthony Sowell case. And a lot of the women that survived this dude are actually giving their testimony, talking about the crack cocaine era and all of that kind of stuff like that. Like, it's deep, it's deep. And a lot of times, like when you think about when you think about California, you got the Grim Reaper. This dude killed women over years and was right there in the community, working among the community. He was seen as a handyman in the community. And then after he's in custody, you got all of these people coming out with saying, yeah, I had to go into the trailer or the RV and clean up blood. Mind you, didn't say anything about it. But you basically saw evidence of him harming women. You saw all of these. You thought it was normal for him to have that collection of all of these provocative pictures of women sexually new. It's just.
I remember that story. Yeah.
And had his son not got arrested, they still wouldn't have got him. Remember, they found him through his son's DNA, not his.
Not his. Yeah, I remember that story.
Yep.
Man. Yeah. Well, this was good.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you for letting me come up.
Thank you, Miss.
No problem.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to have you up here. But
yeah, we'll
yes,
see you
indeed.
tomorrow.
Okay, sisters.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
See you,
Peace,
Karen.
y'all.
All right.
Peace. Thank you. Yeah, it's nobody, right, Queen of the South, nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. And we already know that when it comes to, when you're poor and Black, they just and female, it's just not going to get that type of attention. You really have to have family members or other people that are actually advocating for you. Okay, this was a child. So what's sad about it is that there were more people advocating for this child in death than they were when the child was alive. If she had people advocating for her the way that they advocated for her after she died, right? Which is why I was annoyed by that whole fiasco that occurred in the courthouse. Because if she had people that were that concerned, that advocated for her while she was living, she would possibly still be alive. Once something like this happens, it's too late. And that's not to say the family doesn't that they shouldn't grieve, or that they shouldn't be angry, or that they shouldn't want to hurt somebody. I'm just saying, where was all of this advocacy for her when she was alive? Where was this advocacy for her when she was leaving her house at 9 years old? She don't have to tell nobody where she's going. She can walk to a nursing home where a woman on her block lives in a boarding home, works at, and it doesn't come to the attention of her parent that she's done that. And even in a crisis, it doesn't occur to these people, you know, why are you talking to Cha-Cha, the daughter? Where's the damn mother at? I appreciate you more, Kels. Thank you, baby. You know, it's who protected her. And I think that a lot of times when you watch these type of shows and you listen to the things that are said, you watch the trial testimony, you watch the news coverage, I just think that because of the circumstances, they really can't ask really tough questions. Or it feels that you're victim blaming or victim shaming to ask certain questions. Because at the end of this, the judge was actually moved to tears at the end of this case. So it wasn't that people, she sounds stern, but the totality of this damn case, sitting there for 3 weeks listening to it, she literally had a meltdown. She did not blame her mother. And I just saw things differently. I just didn't know where they were. And the father, I was livid. And we'll get to, once I get to the mom's testimony, we'll get to why I was livid with the father. Because yes, her father actually does appear to give his testimony in victim impact statement. And he just made my whole entire ass hurt. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I don't even know what the fuck he was there for. Okay. Hey, Tampa chick. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. My grandson has been asleep for the last couple of hours. I want to wake him up because I don't want him to sleep too long, because then he won't go to sleep tonight. Okay. Going forward, and of course, if you guys have any stories that you find that are interesting, I'm going to type my email in the chat for you guys to send me stories and articles. Because the other thing that I'm going to try to do is in the mornings, I'm going to start trying to upload. This will be pre-recorded content for covering like current events. Because you know, another story that I wanted to cover. Do you all remember that father that was in, I think it was Vegas? And the child, I don't think he's had his trial yet. But you remember the child that was locked in the car, and they ultimately arrested the father because they realized that child had been deceased, and that rigor mortis had actually set in. So in all likelihood, the child was deceased a lot longer. And that was just basically the ruse to be able to justify the death of the child. Because I did some research on that quite some time ago. And there were some things that the mother said that were just concerning. So like stories like that. I think I read a story where there was a mother of 6 that was murdered in Texas a few days ago. You know, so in the morning, I want to start formatting coverage of just pre-recorded content for for true crime with just current events and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to type my email in the chat for if you guys find if you come across any stories that you would like to cover, then thank you, BW. You know, send me hey Macmillan, send me an email. Princess X, the unfiltered Muffy. Hey, Tracy 3. Let's see. I am Mighty Zion Movements. Hello. Evolve Tara Beverly. Cult-like personality. Let's see. Warmy, Angel Boss, QI Media, Media and Art. Hello. Wild Seed, Blue Rain. Hey. The Queen Rules. Queen of the South. I saw Uncle Sugar in the chat earlier. That's as far up as it'll let me go, but thank you guys. Okay. So we will be covering different cases. And again, if there's any case, I know the Jodi Arias case is one of those cases that I know everybody wants to cover. Have y'all ever heard of the Tiffany Moss case? It's a case. Hey, Terry. Nakura Toure. Have y'all ever heard right the bag lady? Hey, have y'all ever heard of the Tiffany Moss case? That's a case down there in Georgia where it's like a real life Cinderella story, and she murders her stepchild, where her child that she has with the father is treated privileged and the other child is treated horrifically. She ultimately, and I think the child may have had some special needs, and she pretty much abused the child. She killed her. She's on death row now, but her name is Tiffany Moss. And I've never seen that amount of, you're talking about a person that was charged with the murder of a child, that type of indifference. It was just mind blowing. And the fact that she was ultimately able to get the child's father to dispose of her body and to protect. In this instance, the father was the enabler. And she was actually the abuser, in my opinion. He literally burned his own daughter's body like garbage that his wife had killed. So that was one of the other stories that I wanted to do sometime in the near future. Okay. Hey, Diamond Forever. Okay. So yes, beautiful soul, it is. You remember that, Yvonne? Absolutely disgusting. I was like, when I seen him on the stand, I'm like, are you serious? This is his child. And you're helping her, a woman. This is not even the child. This is not the child's mother. You're helping your wife conceal the murder of your child. And not only, no, she's not disposing of the body. You're going to dispose of the body to conceal the murder that your wife committed. It was crazy. And then when he started going into, I said, this guy might not have been the sharpest pencil in the box. And they met in church. It gave me, you know what kind of vibe she gave me? I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that woman that was going, It was her and another woman that was going to the homeless shelters, getting the folks out of the homeless shelters and killing them all for the insurance money and all types of crazy stuff like that. Oh. So it's lots of stories we could cover. Okay. But you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you for hanging out with me. Until tomorrow. Peace, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you.